Back to the hoops action now as we step inside the TVC-Hocking, where the league is shaping up to promise some of the TVC fans some of the most intense basketball in the state. Eastern put out the red-hot Tomcats over the weekend to remain perfect in league play, and Southern took the country roads to West Virginia, but the Mountaineer Straight was not kind to them after Wahama handed the Tornadoes an out-of-conference loss. And Tyler Thompson played God as he made rain from outside, propelling Fed Hawk past Nelsonville-York by his 6 3-pointers. We'll have more on that game shortly. And Trimble could not get that marquee win over Eastern, but got back on track as they too took down the Buckeyes this week. But we're going to focus now on the Tomcats and welcome Adam Flango to the desk. And Matt, we talk a lot about Noah Guthrie on this show, but how do his team make it easier for the big man?
Well, you know, Rob, the easiest way to take pressure off of a big guy is by hitting shots from the outside, and that is exactly what Trimble has been doing lately. In this week's game against Nelsonville-York, Trimble's Chuck Love and Charles Kish both were draining threes, and that really helps out Noah Guthrie a lot because he says that gives him the confidence he needs if he gets double teamed down low to kick it out, and he knows that his team can knock down open shots.
And obviously Trimble has been playing as well as any other team in the TVC. But what is something the Tomcats have to watch out for as we go into tournament time?
You know, Rob, their defense is kind of suspect sometimes. Against Nelsonville-York at the beginning of the game, they started off in a hard man-to-man defense. But after a lot of penetration by the Nelsonville-York players, they had to revert back to the 2-3 zone that Coach Moore would not prefer to use. But he said that I talked to Coach Moore after the game, and he said that his team will be working on moving their feet and getting that extra step that they need to have a strong man-to-man defense. And he thinks that it will really come together come tournament time.
So with only a handful more games, they've got 2 more games against Southern and 1 more against Fed Hawk. 3 wins there equates to a 2nd place finish in the TVC-Hocking. And for a team that started out 0-4, you can't ask for much more. Thanks, Adam. And let's get back to that inter-conference battle of Federal Hocking and Nelsonville-York and why it might not be anywhere close to a desert in southeast Ohio. Tyler Thompson and Daniel Klein made it feel like a Wild West duel in the Lancers' 10-point win over the Buckeyes. Let's have Matt Archibald and Matty Kuhn join us and take us one-on-one in the Klein versus Thompson shootout.
During their game against Federal Hocking, the Nelsonville-York Buckeyes, Daniel Klein, who played for them, he was a quiet presence and slowly put up 20 points. But Tyler Thompson, he was just draining threes from outside. He was a lot more flashy, stepping behind the arc and putting up shots that made people in the crowd put their arms up.
Yeah, Matt, you mentioned that game. Tyler Thompson had 26 points, 6 of 8 from behind the line for a ridiculous 75% shoot percentage there. And if you look at this game, it was funny. We went to the high school game expecting a normal high school game to break out. What we saw was a one-on-one NBA game, a kind of LeBron versus Kobe kind of thing. It's kind of funny because Thompson's been the star all season. But what do you think of Klein emerging as one of the team's elite?
Daniel Klein, he's up and he's good like one of his 8-foot jumpers. Against Wellston earlier in the week, he had a team-leading 16 points against Federal Hocking. He posted another team-leading 20 points, including 1 block against 6'10" Chris Saylor. And he had 9 points in the 4th quarter, while the rest of the team had 3, which shows that he's also becoming an especially potent 4th quarter presence. And Matt, what do you think about Tyler Thompson being a team leader?
Well, Matt, he's been the center of the team all year long. He's been doing it all season. He's the man. But what I really want to see from this Lancers team is other players step up and start contributing. We saw when he left in foul trouble in this game, he had 3 or 4 fouls. He went off the court in the 4th quarter, and their lead evaporated. Nelsonville-York came back, cut the game to like 3 points, and you need other players to step up, especially heading into this postseason action.
Absolutely. If there's more than one player contributing, you have a much better chance to win. Thanks, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 players combined for 46 points and 7 3-pointers, so that was truly a sight to see. But outside shooters, check. Scrappy defenses, check. Tournament seeds at stake, you get the idea. These are just some of the ingredients in the recipe that is the rematch between Alexander and Federal Hocking. And in what promises to be a down-to-the-wire classic, let's look at next week's Best in Show as we bring in Brad Hawley and Matt Archibald once again.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Now, Brad, when we look at this game, this rematch coming in, the last game, Alexander beat him by 15 points. It was really a game where the teams did the exact opposite. Federal Hocking couldn't buy a basket, and the Alexander were just ridiculous.
That's exactly right. Alexander could not miss. That's why I'm thinking this game is going to be a little bit closer because Alexander may actually miss a shot this time.
Yeah, I mean, they cannot keep up that shooting percentage that they had. At least I hope not. It'd be ridiculous. Now, I agree the game's going to be closer, but for a few different reasons. Federal Hocking has improved on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Tyler Thompson is on a tear, as we just mentioned. He's ridiculous. And then one other key factor for them, Chris Saylor has improved. They're actually using him in the offense. He's a 6'8" sophomore center. His height is just a freak presence down there in the blocks.
That's exactly right. Now, what about the playoff implications?
Yeah, as you look at these sectionals coming up, for both teams, if they win out, they have a good chance to take the 2 seed, and that's going to be huge for them because then they get to play. They don't have to go through the buzzsaw teams that lie in the sectional tournament.
That's exactly right. And if Fed Hawk can beat Alexander, that washes away Alexander's advantage of beating them twice in the season. Back to you, Rob.
And that should be a great game, and that's got implications across the board. But now that you've seen the rest, it's time for the best as we honor our hero of the week. And as the kids say these days, Noah Guthrie simply went off the chain as he notched a double-double against Nelsonville-York. And what's more impressive is that the big fella went 5 from 7 from the charity line, a spot where bigs usually don't really shine. And for more on Noah Guthrie, we're talking with Adam Flango again. And Adam, how has Guthrie been so effective this season?
You know, Rob, to put it simply, Noah Guthrie is a man. He uses his size to hit his advantage and plays really within himself. He doesn't try to do too much for the team, which is really important for the guys. Noah Guthrie has been relied on all year as the primary scorer for the whole season. Coach Kurt Moore has relied on him to establish their inside-outside game that has been really effective throughout their 9 wins in 11 games this whole year.
And he's a guy who I've learned watching him. He's a type of player who you can't really stop. You can just try to contain him. Thanks, Adam. And now that's all the show we've got for you this week, but don't go anywhere as Hardwood will be with you throughout the playoffs as well as the area teams embark on the road to the Convo. You know the deal. www.woub.org/heroes has your latest scores, schedules, and highlights and much more feature content. Until next time, be heroic.